We have the best police laboratories in the world, Mr. Holmes.
I beg your pardon, Lieutenant Grogan. You see, I'm so accustomed to working quite alone at my lodgings in Baker Street that I sometimes forget the more modern scientific methods so particularly effective here in America.
But if there's anything there, they'll find it, Mr. Holmes.
While you're doing that, I'll take a look at the club car. Coming, Watson?
Here we are, Mr. Holmes. I have the port, as you asked, and the railroad company sent Mr. Moore to unlock for us.
Delighted. How do you do? Very good. Let's go in.
This way, gentlemen. Well, it looks as if the police have made a thorough search.
Whoever did it wasn't the police. There have been visitors here since our friend Grogan.
My goodness, look at our car.
Talk about a blitz.
I say, Holmes, if Grayson hid anything in this car, it certainly isn't here now.
Not necessarily, Watson. If you'll help me put this place in some kind of order.
Yes, sir, boss.
This would go about here, I imagine.
That's it, boss. Yes,
And,
yes.
wait a minute.
Oh, yeah, that's certainly more like it. Yes, sir.
Thank you. That'll be all. Watson, will you be Mr. Grayson for the moment?
Grayson? Oh, if you want me to, old man. What do you want me to do?
You're having a drink at the bar.
Oh, drink. Oh, that's not a bad idea. Drink at the bar. Bring me a whiskey and soda, will you, Stuart?
Stuart? Sorry, Dr. Watson, but the bar's closed.
Oh, says the bar's closed.
According to Grogan's reconstruction of the scene, let me see. Yes. Grayson pauses at the bar while Senator Babcock moves across and sits down here. Do you mind being Senator Babcock for the moment, Watson?
Oh, going up in the world.
Sit down, please. Now, Miss Pringle is seated there. Over there, Watson.
Hmm? Now, Miss Pringle.
That's right, the mouse woman.
Oh, the mouse woman.
Watson, over here, please. No, not there. Not there. That's Senator Babcock.
Oh, pardon me, Senator.
Sit down, please. Now you're Mrs. Jellison.
Oh, excuse me, Mr. Holmes. He ain't Mrs. Jellison. He's the young lady.
What?
Sir Henry Marchmont was sitting right here, and Miss Jellison was right here. She's a sort of a big, fat lady.
What did Grayson do that attracted your attention so particularly to Mrs. Jellison?
The little man, he retrieved her book.
And the young lady sitting here, didn't she converse with the little man?
No, sir. That young lady didn't have no converse with no one. When the little man lit her cigarette, she ran back and said, "Thank you very much."
But you have matches here for your customers.
Oh, yes, she called me, and I saw a cigarette, and I knew she wanted a match.
And Grayson used one of his own matches.
Dog it. Oh, yes, he took a folder from his coat pocket.
Did he put the match folder back in his pocket, or did he give it to the young lady?
I don't remember. I was fairly busy.
Try to remember.
Well, if I should try to doomsday, I couldn't rightly say just what happened to that match folder. Oh, yes. I remember just one important thing.
What?
When the little man lit her cigarette, he said something very peculiar.
What was it?
He said, "Permit me."
Oh. Well, gentlemen, I'm extremely grateful to all of you. That's all we can do for the present, I think. Since the place was torn to bits after the murder of Grayson, and the attacks on Senator Babcock, Mrs. Jellison, and Miss Pringle, I'm convinced that the document left the club car long before these events. But how? By whom? And who was the mysterious young lady whose cigarette Grayson lighted? Did anyone meet the young lady?
He sure did.
He? Who was he?
Tall, handsome, in a uniform.
I see. I suppose you wouldn't remember what kind of a uniform.
I certainly would. Lieutenant, Navy flyer. My boy's in the Army. He's gonna be a flyer, too.
Splendid. Did you happen to hear them say anything?
Oh, I didn't happen. I just couldn't help hearing it.
Mm-hmm. Well, what did they say?
Oh, yes, he said he had 3-day leave. They had to move fast before the big part her aunt was giving them. Then, too, he put a ring on her finger, and they both looked mighty happy.
Mm-hmm.
Just the way you're looking right now. And the way I'm looking myself.
Come on, Watson.
That's the girl. I told the head I could swear to it.
Is the address there?
All there. Right in our laps.
And also right in the lap of Sherlock Holmes.
That's the least of our worries. The head could handle 10 like Holmes.
I hope so. But don't underrate that Englishman. I have several friends who did. They now grace some of the best prisons in England. Yes, sir?
I talked to the catering company. It's quite all right. They could hardly refuse me. It's the Acton Company.
The Acton Catering Company. Yes, sir. I know what to do. Pop over there. You're going to work for the catering company.
Right.
When you get in the house, find out all you can. Katie.
Yes?
You're to go as a guest.
Will it be safe?
It'll have to be. I'll try and get in the girls' room. Unless you hear from me, carry on as we planned.
Flash Gordon. Seems a very capable fellow. Sports pages. These Brooklyn fellows seem to be arguing with the umpire. Story thing.
What are you eating, Watson?
Gum?
Oh, put it away.
Never seen you take an interest in the society columns before.
It's a concern I'll drop at once, I assure you, Watson.
You found what you're looking for? Well, how do you know this is the girl?
It would be an extraordinary coincidence, wouldn't it? If more than one naval lieutenant in Washington were to become engaged in the last few days to a girl from New York whose aunt was giving them a reception.
By Joe, you must be right. She's a pretty girl.
Yes. He's walking around with dynamite in her handbag. .625 Wardlaw Place.
Who is it?
Me, Pete.
You can't come up here.
I did, though.
One get you two.
That party's gonna be awfully dull after this.
Let's not go. Let's go away and get married. You've only got one more day.
That's an idea. No, we can't do that, Danny. I'll tell you. Let's sneak a look at the new apartment.
It was awful sweet of Auntie to give us the whole floor of this house for our apartment. The least we can do is let her have the fun of showing it to us.
Okay. Let's face the party.
I'll get my bag.
Thank you.
Oh, no, you don't. That's the way I got them.
How do you do? So glad you could come. This is Mrs. Oh, dear, what is your name?
Ruxton.
Of course I know it as well as my own. And this is Mrs. Vale.
How do you do?
Isn't it?
Quite.
Oh, of course.
Any luck?
Not yet.
That must be Lieutenant Merriam with Miss Partridge over there.
Certainly glad to hear the news, Pete. Congratulations.
Well, thank you, Major. Thank you.
You're a lucky guy, Pete. I'll see you later.
Third floor, first door.
Right. I'll wait there. You bring him up.
Thank you, sir.
A toast to the happy couple.
A toast.
Very good.
Happy landings. May I have one of those, certainly?
Me too. Thank you.
Aren't you happy? You know what I'm doing.
Lieutenant Merriam? Telephone, sir. Navy Department calling.
Oh, yes. Be right back. Lead on, McDuff.
This way, sir.
Matches. Match me, darling.
Dig them up.
Thank you.
Oh, Pete, hold it.
You can keep them, Major.
Oh, thank you.
Thank you.
Not for me, thank you.
No, thank you. Why up here?
They said it was private. There's a phone in here, sir.
Hey, it's my new apartment. Miss Partridge didn't want me to see it till after it was finished.
Here you are, sir. Quite a smell of paint, sir. In here, sir.
Thank you.
We should get some action, Sir Henry, with Sherlock Holmes in Washington.
Yes. I don't mind telling you I'd give anything to get my hands on that document.
Yes, I know.
Or at least know that it's in safe hands. Thanks.
Engaged today and married tomorrow. No, thanks. Have you a match?
Miss Partridge?
Yes?
Lieutenant Merriam asked if you would come to the new apartment.
But he's not supposed to see it yet.
The new apartment? He must think you're already married.
Yes, I don't dare let that man out of my sight. Excuse me, will you please?
Surely.
Oh, I'm so sorry. May I? Thank you.
This way, please.
Oh, I know the way, thank you. Peter, where are you?
Well, here we are, Grogan.
Good connection.
We'd better go into the party.
Well, I think you better go in first, Mr. Holmes. I'm not very good at this sort of thing.
I think you do all right.
The only possible explanation.
Mrs. Partridge, forgive my intruding, but is your niece the kind of girl who would just disappear in this manner of her own free will?
Well, ordinarily, of course not. But the girl's in love.
In love? Well, of course, if they're in love, that's...
Even so, they'd naturally tell you of their destination.
Really, I've no idea. Oh, but they'll be back here again tomorrow. You see, I prepared an apartment for them. An entire floor in this house.
By the by, Mrs. Partridge, I gather the rug you ordered for the apartment was not entirely satisfactory.
Oh, those tiresome workmen. I told them not to come in here this afternoon, but they did.
And walked out with the rug, which they no doubt informed you had been sent by mistake and would be replaced tomorrow.
Yes, but however did you know that?
Show me the apartment.
Yes, there were two rugs there. One for the living room and one for the dining room.
All your workmen wear rubber-soled shoes, do they not?
Oh, but yes, always. Their company requires them to.
Nevertheless, there have been leather heels on this floor. And a woman's heels. Very recently, I should say. Not yours, Mrs. Partridge. But recently enough, so that no dust has had time to settle in the imprints. Stay over there, please. There seems to be a struggle over there. A woman's footprints disappear and a man's leather heels come round and stop there. Either she was carried out in the carpet or else... Where does that door lead to?
Why, it's a dressing room.
Perhaps an ordinary skeleton key.
Try it. Watson, this is a matter for you, I'm afraid.
Excuse me.
Who is he?
Is it Miriam?
Peter!
Take it easy, Mrs. Partridge. Let the doctor examine him. How is he, Watson?
Nasty crack of the head. Nothing serious, thank heavens. Is there somewhere where you can lie down?
Of course. Poor Peter. Take him to my room.
Yes, son, put your arm around my neck. That's the old chap.
Mr. Holmes, you must find Nancy.
Quite.
Poor Peter.
Girl disappeared right from under our noses. It's unbelievable. I better try to trace that truck.
That won't lead us anywhere. Our antagonist is too clever for that. But the girl must be found immediately. You're sure the police chemists found nothing definite in their examination of the trunk?
Not one thing pertinent to the case.
What about Grayson's body and the blanket it was wrapped in?
Nothing.
Every object connected with this case has some kind of story to tell. Do you think they'd mind if...
The laboratory is completely at your disposal, Mr.
Thank you. Dr. Watson and I will go there at once.
Usual findings on the trunk, Mr. Holmes. Bought in Washington, been banged about a good deal. All labels removed.
And the body?
No marks of any kind.
Very well.
If you need me, call.
Thank you. Watson, please.
Just tidying up a bit.
This blanket is beginning to tell me many things.
Really? Don't say so.
It only remains to translate them properly. Yes. And just as I thought. This blanket has had a most varied history. It's been on many a sea voyage. The latest not 6 months ago. Since then, it has been used to wrap a multiplicity of objects. Carvings of teak wood, candle snuffers made of pewter. And furniture.
Furniture?
Yes. Teakwood leaves an unmistakable stain. Pewter rubs off easily. And there are evidences of wax drippings. But what particularly concerns us, Watson, is the furniture. Most likely a chair. Louis the 15th. In yellow and maroon satin. What do all these things suggest you, Watson?
Let me see. An aunt of mine, Matilda, lives in Brighton. Very old-fashioned. Very aged.
Exactly. Antiques. We've a lot of ground to cover before nightfall.
Ground? What ground?
If necessary, all the antique shops in Washington. A-N-T-I. Here we are, antiques.
Antiques? What connection is there, Louis XV's chair with this Partridge girl?
This sliver of wood came from a Louis XV chair that had once been wrapped in that blanket. From other evidences the blanket supplies, I deduced that it's been used in an antique shop. And whoever controls those antiques murdered Grayson and kidnapped the girl.
What?
That's it, Watson. Come along. Before the girl's kidnapper becomes her murderer.
Fed up with all this shopping for antiques.
We must keep searching, Watson. The girl's in grave danger. Hello.
Hello? Oh, sorry. What is it, Holmes?
This isn't the place it seems to be. Look, Watson. Those cabinets. Obviously imitation, and yet they're priced as if they were authentic.
Beware and all that, eh, Holmes?
Watson, I feel certain this is it.
This is my purse.
May I? Thank you.
What kind of a joke is this? Oh, don't bother to answer. You can tell the police all about it. And you shall, I promise you.
But there are no police here. Haven't you noticed? We are quite alone. I sent for you to ask you a few questions.
You always send a rug for your guests.
It was a very nice rug, Miss Partridge.
It's not my idea of a method of transportation.
No, I'm sorry about that, but I'm afraid it was unavoidable.
But why? You've no right to bring me here like this.
I've always found it wise to take what rights I can get. Miss Partridge, you have a document which I must have.
Document? I have no document.
It won't do you any good to deny it.
But I do deny it. I don't know what you're talking about.
You'll remain a prisoner until you produce it.
How can I produce it when I haven't got it?
But you have. It was observed that on the train you had contact with a little British agent named Grayson. He gave you something. Where is it?
But I hardly even noticed the man. I wouldn't even have remembered him if I hadn't seen his picture in the paper. He disappeared or something.
He's dead, Miss Partridge.
Oh.
Now will you tell me what I want to know?
But I can't.
You won't?
I can't, I tell you. Let me out of here. He gave me nothing.
That's strange, because I know he spoke to you. There's something very curious about that door up there. To open it, you'd have to know the combination.
But I tell you, I spoke to no one on that train.
Now, didn't the little man try to be attentive to you?
Oh, he may have offered the usual courtesies. I don't even remember.
I see. I'm sorry. Aren't you spoke one of these?
Thank you.
And you're quite sure he said nothing at all to you?
Of course I'm sure.
Permit me. And you're certain that nothing passed between you?
I'm certain.
Mr. Howe, please. I must ask you to trust me with your bag a little longer. I have an eccentric interest in the linings of purses. It's a foible. You know Mr. Howe, I believe. Mr. Howe is a gentleman of unusual accomplishments. Under his influence, I've known people talk fluently who never talked before.
But I don't know anything, I tell you. Nothing. Nothing, I swear it. I don't know anything.
You stay out here. I'll go inside. I'll assume the character of an eccentric art collector. As soon as I'm convinced that this is the place we're looking for, I'll signal to you. And you get Grogan and bring him here on the run. But don't lose any time. An extra second may cost a life.
No, madam, I don't know who she is. But notice the modeling. It has good symmetry, good lines. Oh, I'll be right with you, sir.
No, thank you. I'll just take a look around. What an extraordinary cabinet. Spanish. Moorish influence. Imitation, of course.
It is not an imitation, it's authentic.
Oh, come now, my dear man. Ah, may I see some of these ceramics?
Those aren't for sale. They're Ming vases mostly, and they haven't been marked yet.
Well, that's really a very little consequence. You see, if they're genuine, I can tell to within a shilling what the international price might be.
If you please, sir, there are other customers.
Oh, yes, of course. Well, I'll just look around. Ah, what a very interesting collection of pewter.
That'll be $500. Now, would you just give me the address where you want it sent?
Yes, Mrs. J. Wellington, Jr. DuPont Circle.
Good night. I'll have it sent out in the morning.
dear, oh dear. I'm most terribly sorry.
You've broken one of our best pieces, sir. Ming Dynasty.
Tang Dynasty, not Ming. Definitely not Ming.
It is my business to know, sir. The pottery is Ming and worth $2,300. As we're closing for the evening, I must ask you to settle at once.
Oh, nonsense, my good man. Tang pottery is worth $600 at best.
Just a moment, please.
Yes, of course.
Hello?
What's going on up there?
A customer dropped a valuable piece of pottery. I'll finish with him immediately.
How can you say that it's Ming? 2,300 fiddlesticks. You asked $2,300 for something that's worth no more than $600. I demand to see the proprietor.
Now, wait
there
a
are
minute,
bureaus for
please.
the protection of innocent customers. Show me to the owner of this establishment, or I'll turn the entire affair over to my legal representative. Ming, indeed.
Just a
What
minute.
chicanery, what skullduggery. I mean to put an end to it this very night. Ming for Tang, indeed. And I won't be put off. Call the proprietor immediately.
Very well. Just a minute.
Yes?
This man's mad. An eccentric collector. I can't get rid of him. Insists on seeing you in person.
All right, stall him for half a minute, then send him into my office. I'll get rid of him, and quickly. Aha. No screams till the customer's gone. You get downstairs.
Yes, sir. I'm most frightfully sorry. I'm most frightfully sorry about the vase, but really, sir, your clerk is guilty of attempting the most obvious fraud. You see, he tried to convince me that I'd broken a Ming pottery when anyone could see that it belonged to the Tang era. Its value is no more than $600.
All right, you pay him the $600. We'll call the matter settled.
Oh, thank you very much, sir. Thank you. I'll send you my check in the morning. I see you know the London value of these pieces.
It's my business.
Exactly. Yes, exactly. You know, I think you're just the man to help me find some furniture I'm anxious to get. I'm most frightfully bored with the usual conglomeration of pieces that we can pick up on the other side.
What do you really want, Mr. Sherlock Holmes?
Herr Heinrich Henkel, or as you now call yourself, Mr. Richard Stanley. In 1914, secret agent of the German Kaiser. Since then, head of the most insidious international spy ring that ever existed.
You're wrong. A case of mistaken identity. I've been a respected member of this community for a great many years. I deal in antiques because of their rarity and beauty.
Merely a device to cover up your real business of transporting secret information to the enemies of this country.
Very interesting, but just a figment of your imagination. I'm a very busy man, Mr. Sherlock Holmes.
Where is Nancy Partridge?
You're not looking for that girl. You're looking for a certain document.
Oh, dear me, no. The document's perfectly safe. You see, the man who has it doesn't know he has it.
That's a very pretty tale, but quite untrue. The only man who had any contact with Grayson on the train was Senator Babcock. The senator doesn't have the document. We took the trouble to find out. Permit me.
Thank you. Perhaps you've been misled by the common notion regarding the shape and bulk of state papers. They might easily have been reduced to a convenient size, you know. Say, a document no larger than a postage stamp.
Postage stamp, huh? That's a very interesting theory, but not supported by the facts.
And quite beside the point.
Where's the girl? She's not here, of course, but you're quite at liberty to look round if you care to.
Thank you. I shall do so. Interesting piece. Spanish, isn't it?
Moorish.
Oh, my error.
It's an amazing specimen. I assure you won't find what you're looking for there.
You stimulate my curiosity. This might be interesting. Were an incredibly inventive people, weren't they?
Yes, it was in shocking condition when I got hold of it. But I had it restored.
It's very lively now, but old-fashioned. If that's the best you can do, Mr. Stanley, I think I may safely examine the rest of the room.
Help yourself.
Thank you. Take your hand away from that drawer.
Mr. Holmes, you didn't think I was going to draw a weapon. I never touched the things.
How odd to find you squeamish.
That connects only with the shop.
You're very quick to say so. And yet a short while ago, I saw two other men in this room. And they didn't go back into the shop, so there must be another exit. And perhaps another room.
Yes, Mr. Stanley, what is it?
Bring Miss Partridge here at once. Excellent, Holmes. I see your voice hasn't lost its flexibility.
My hand hasn't lost its cunning either. When they come here, tell them to leave the girl with you and to clear out.
You think I'll do that?
Yes, you will. You're playing with lives now, Stanley. Not just the girls. Thousands, millions perhaps. And we don't intend to let one man have that much power. Not now, nor at any time in the future. I prefer you alive to face the retribution that's coming to you. But if I have to do it...
All right, Mr. Holmes. I suppose we must all meet our match sooner or later. That's enough, boys. Take your hands off him. Well, Mr. Holmes? Tell the clerk to go home and see the front door's locked.
Well, Mr. Stanley?
It's the last trick that counts, eh, Holmes?
I'll remind you of that later.
Miss Partridge, allow me to present Mr. Sherlock Holmes, the world-famous detective. He's come to rescue you.
I don't believe you.
Oddly enough, he's telling the truth. My name is Sherlock Holmes, and I did come here to help you. But I seem rather to have missed it. I'm sorry. I'm afraid you've had a bad time.
Well, that doesn't matter. It's Peter. They say they'll do something to him if I don't tell them. They say they've got him.
Cheer up. He's quite safe. A tough customer like Peter isn't disabled very long by a clout on the head. He's all right.
All okay, Mr. Stanley.
Look here, Stanley. This girl knows nothing. I promise she won't even identify you.
Well, unfortunately, she knows enough to hang us. So do you. I'm surprised at you walking into a trap like this, but you see the position I'm in and what has to be done. Katie, how? It will give me great pleasure to attend to Mr. Holmes personally. Easter, and the girl's yours.
It's the police!
Open up, it's the police.
Holmes, where are you? You all right? Holmes! Where are they?
Darling. Thank heavens you're safe.
Quick! Stanley's escaped.
All right, boys, bring them along. Come on, Lieutenant. Let's go, sir.
Senate office building, double quick.
Come in.
I'm glad you're safe, Senator.
Safe? No man is safe. Look at the way my constituents snipe at me. I don't recall seeing your face before, stranger.
I don't think we've met.
Well, that explains it.
My name is Sherlock Holmes.
Glad to know you, Holmes. What's on your mind?
Senator Babcock, I'm here to inform you of grave peril to your life. Richard Stanley, a dangerous criminal, is now on his way here.
Richard Stanley? Why, he's the most respectable citizen of Washington, has been for years. What could Stanley possibly want from me?
A document. From under the stamps of a letter given to you by a chap named Grayson.
Grayson? Grayson? Used to know a man. Grayson? Why, that's the fellow disappeared. Say, I got that envelope right here in my wallet. Now, what does Stanley think could be under these stamps?
A secret document of grave import. Reduced to microfilm and concealed under these very stamps.
Thank you very much, Mr. Holmes. That's just what I wanted to know. I might have missed this microfilm if you hadn't led me to it.
I seem to have underestimated your capabilities, Mr. Stanley.
Yes, Mr. Holmes. Your famous powers of deduction and observation made it very well in Limehouse or Soho. But here in America, I believe you're out of your depth.
If so, the verdict of history will be severe indeed.
You're nervous, Sherlock Holmes?
I must confess to a marked irritation. Do you mind if I smoke? Thank you. The whole course of the world might be changed by your acquisition of the microfilm.
Oh, it will be, and for the better.
You a match?
You can keep those.
Thank you.
And now, if you'll pardon me, Mr. Holmes.
Why don't you do something, Holmes, if that thing's so all-fired important?
The English senator. Cricket, old boy, always cool in the crisis. The last trick, eh, Holmes?
Yes, the last trick.
Say, you're a smart fellow, Holmes. Here's the microfilm, Holmes.
Thank you, Senator.
I say, Holmes.
This is the microfilm with the document on it. It'll be in the proper hands within the hour. As I told you, Mr. Stanley, the man who had it didn't know he had it.
Come on, let's go.
Well, it'll be nice to get home to Baker Street, eh, Holmes?
Yes. But this is a great country, Watson.
It certainly is, my dear fellow.
Look, up there ahead. The Capitol. The very heart of this democracy.
Democracy. The only hope for the future, eh, Holmes?
It's not given to us to peer into the mysteries of the future. But in the days to come, the
British and American people will, for their own safety and for the good of all, walk together in majesty, in justice, and in peace.
That's magnificent. I quite agree with you.
Not with me, with Mr. Winston Churchill. I was quoting from the speech he made not so long ago, in that very building.